And we welcome you into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Post-game, Bruins lose 2-0 to the Philadelphia Flyers in a game that I can only describe as ugh. That's what it comes down to for me. We'll get Razor's adjective in just a moment. Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor is proudly presented by InPod by Fazenda Coffee Roasters. Whether you're running a cafe or just looking for a great cup of coffee at home, Fazenda Coffee Roasters has got you covered. Check out the special Morning Brew blend, crafted for Bruins fans and perfect for your morning brew. Cafes, bakeries, and restaurants explore our wholesale program and serve the same quality coffee trusted by Boston's best. Visit facendacoffee.com/morning brew to learn more and shop today. That's the official read. I just did that. We don't normally do officials read. You know why I'm doing that there, Razor? Because now I'm going to give you this is official, but this is the, all right, here we go. Hats. The hats are going to be live in 2 days.
Oh, mama.
They're there. Fazenda Coffee is going to be our point of distribution for drop shipping the hats. Fazenda Coffee, go check them out. facendacoffee.com/morning brew. We are going to have a bundle. We are going to sell them individually. But we can't thank Fazenda Coffee enough for, first of all, being the lead podcast sponsor, but also just for doing all the stuff they do. They're a wonderful partner that we've had for a couple of years now. Check out facendacoffee.com. Hats are in. Razor's got the, we'll call retro hat, meaning.
Yeah, I have my new one in my backpack. Tonight was a mess. I'm on the desk. There's like 5 construction zones on the Mass Pike on the way out. Did you get out of the garage tonight? Like, no problem.
No. There was a problem because when you got out of the garage, it was
down to one lane.
Down to one lane.
So, like you said, you got out of the garage, and I was like, "Wow!" Because I knew it would be quick. Because everybody left the building as soon as they possibly could for that atrocious game tonight. So I was pumped because I got out. I'm like, I'll just cruise. And I literally got to the ramp and I was sitting in traffic, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is not like
traffic." It was like the Philadelphia Flyers blocking shots.
Yeah. It was exactly what it was. And that was still like a half an hour behind you or 40 minutes behind you. It was still there. I was like,
no, it took me a while. I thought I was gonna cruise out. I'm like, all right, I'm getting out. I was doing the rink side. I'm getting out early, and I'm depressed, so to speak, hockey depressed. And the bad news, the worst part about all this is that I eat when my feelings are like that, and so I'm like, oh shit, I'm hungry. I gotta eat something. I did. I came home. I ate food that I'll probably regret at 3:48 in the morning. I probably will. But I already ate. But no, it took me a while to get out of there. So
anyways, my word was,
I'm
excited about it.
Yes,
everyone was the booth was buzzing. Everyone had their hats on by the end of the night.
So the place where we got our hats made this time made us a little something extra. I'm gonna show you something. You tell me what you think. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see this. And if you're not, we'll describe it.
Somebody will enjoy that style a lot more. That's not my style.
That's the question. So now I'm not trying to create there we go. It's a black front with gold back.
I like the gold stitching.
And
is that gold
and the gold stitching. Yeah, yes. It is. It's sharp. Sorry, there we go. All right, you see that the gold trim. Now these are not made yet. These were she made me just a couple. Here you go. Take a look and wait. Tell me what you think of those. So I'm not trying to create anything, but I don't know. Maybe people. I mean, the black are classic. They're bold. They're great. Maybe we'll introduce another color, but for now, it's just the main black hat, and we're excited. So go check out facendacoffee.com/morning brew where you can get them. Not yet. 2 days. So Thursday, it will be live. All right. You said atrocious. I said that's probably it's too weak of a word. All right, we haven't done a brew though also since the Toronto game, meaning we didn't talk Toronto. Yeah. You were in Rochester. How did that hockey tournament go? Maybe that's a more enjoyable conversation.
No, it's not. It's not. No, it's not. The girls Girls haven't done many tournaments, so we get up there on Friday, and there was just way too much nervous excitement, stress. They played horrible the first day. So they tied and then they lost. They tied and they couldn't get over it because they win a lot of games. Like, they're pretty good little girls. And then they got stoned by a goalie, and that basically ended it. And then they won 7-0, 7-0 on Saturday and had a bunch of fun, and everything was good. And Dad got to get up and get out of Rochester at 6:30 a.m. Saturday. So at the end of the day, it was positive, but first day was disappointing for the girls. So they were not in the playoff mix.
Is knee hockey, is floor hockey as big with the girls, or no? Or
it's interesting. It's an interesting. It's just so it was an interesting dynamic because obviously Rochester, the dads took this trip, so there was a bunch of dads with the girls, and most of the dads have boys that do the same kind of tournaments and have we have a routine as the boys tournaments have gone, older boys, and this was a little different, but yeah, it's not a full blown knee hockey tournament. It's kind of half. My daughter is a big knee hockey person. She had tournaments set up and wanted everybody to be involved, but there's pushback. There's a whole thing. So it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting.
All right.
Glad I'm not doing any more of them this year. That's
no,
it.
You're done. You're done. Did you get a chance to go over the Toronto game? I mean, I know you looked, so the contrast between that performance and this performance, the 2-0 loss to the Philadelphia Flyers, stark and disappointing and concerning for me. I understand you're going to ride up, and now the emotions of an 82 game season cannot always be at the ultimate high level. I get all that. We've talked about that ad nauseum, et cetera. But knowing that your team has really still struggled to find its way, its footing, and yet you come out against Toronto, not a perfect game, but really good energy, really much better cohesiveness, and then to come out and I think against Philly to be disconnected again in so many ways, which we'll get into, but that and just not be able to find that next level of we're gonna get this done. I don't care if you only win that game 2-1, Razor. You win that Philly game 2-1. You just do. I mean, that's what it comes down in my book. In my book. You tell me.
No, the 5-on-3. It's a 5-on-3 for me. It's a 5-on-3. You have a minute 46.
This is a first period power play, folks. If you haven't had a chance to watch the game, Bruins get a 5-on-3 opportunity for over a minute, whatever it was, minute 30, 27, something like that. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, it was more 27.
Okay. So now, and then that was just like, holy shit, it was like, what's going on?
Literally, yeah, it's frustrating. And, again, I don't know. I don't know enough about, like, I know what works and what doesn't. I don't know how much they've worked on a 5-on-3 or why they went to a box and won, why they had it set up the way they did, but there was no threat.
None.
There was no threat. No one was in the middle of the ice.
They were predictable. That was the other thing. Everybody knew they were looking for David, for Pastrnak.
Correct. Well, it feels like no one else, and every other option they tried to force it for like a 5-foot pass on a 5-on-3 when really you can stretch things out a little bit. Like, you can really get some movement going and hit the top of the slot. And that, for me, again, Philly can't score. They don't have a lot. If you recognize this is the game, this is it right here. And the percentage of teams that lose when they don't score on a 5-on-3 is 70-75%. Like, if you don't get that, the hockey gods are against you. And the Bruins played with that, and they lost with that tonight because that dictated. They got 4 big saves from Korpisalo in the first 10 minutes of the game. They missed on a 5-on-3. And now you're like, all right, now everything's settled in after that. Philly settled in, and they just, all right, we can just win a 1-0 game. Let's go with it.
They got their behinds kind of chewed out a bit by Torts this morning.
Yeah.
Tuesday morning at morning skate. Hadn't been happy with the team, and understandably so. They're not a great team at all. That's obvious.
No, they don't have any scoring ability.
They have no.
I mean, Michkov's kind of cool, but that's it.
Right, and he wasn't really a factor, I felt, in this
Nothing.
game at all. I mean, a couple of the other kids were all right. I mean, Forster's one that scoring the goal. I will say they played a structured game with regard to net front, box out, blocking shot. Blocking shots were a major story in this game. The complete John Tortorella type effort, right? I mean, that's what it ends up being.
Yeah.
But the Bruins never worked their way through it. They never said, okay.
Or adjusted.
That's what I'm going to say. That's what I mean. They never worked their way around it to where they were going to be like, all right, we're going to bump past shoot and then open up, to try and open up a lane, or we're going to intentionally move it wide. How often did they hold onto the puck and stick handle 2 extra times, which is maybe 2 seconds or 1 second, which all that takes, that's all that takes for a guy to slide into a lane to then block it again. I mean, you could see them thinking about what they wanted to do instead of doing what they needed to do. I can't think of one player, you help me out here, bud, except for Jonas Korpisalo, who I thought was very good in this game, that was really what I would call good. Can you think of any that was good? I can't.
The only one I would go, and it's more kind of situational. I thought Andrew Peeke was pretty good, but like fine, good. Like he wasn't put in a position to change the game. It was his game was good. Like he had a couple shots, couple chance.
He did his job.
He's our 6th defenseman. He's the 6th defenseman. So that's all I'm using. Because it was Korpisalo. That was it. And good thing he did show up, because if it had been 2-0, 3-0 early, it would have been real ugly in there tonight, I think.
Bruins were 0 for 4 on the power play, 6:24 of power play time. They had 2 shots, Razor. 2 power play shots.
And those were on the 5-on-3, and it was one was David, who got way too deep, like pretty easy read for Arison, and I can't even remember the other one. It wasn't a good one. It was just
because Lindholm's opportunity, which was really good, came after the 5-on-3 when Arison came over and make that right pad save.
Correct. Yes, that's right. That was a good.
I can't remember it either.
I don't know what the other one was.
The Bruins attempted to block 33 times. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. No, 28.
That's what we had.
28 or 33. Regardless, it was a shitload.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the Bruins also had 15 missed shots. Bruins had 23 shots on goal, 33 attempt to block, 15 missed shots. They also got dominated in the faceoff circle.
Yep.
Yet, I will say they did win faceoffs on that 5-on-3. That was the one thing they did well 3 times. They won faceoffs there. That was Lindholm.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of the game, Justin Brazeau was out there on the power play instead of Pavel Zacha. Zacha is absolutely thinking too much, trying to be too fine right now. He had an opportunity in the first period over the net, put it over the net. He is getting.
I can't wait for Pavel Zacha to bury it in one of the goalie's chests. Well, I'm gonna scream with excitement when he does that. Right, I want him to hit someone right in the. I want him to hit Freddie Anderson right in the chest in the first period, because I can't watch him missing anymore. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. He's too good for that.
What has to happen? I mean,
I don't.
It's funny. Again, we keep saying it's early in the season, but it's starting to be, not that early, perhaps. And again, it's kind of the eye test, Razor. Something has to give. Something. I mean, you even hear in the post game from Montgomery and some of the players. Something has to change, because we're only seeing a few moments of it. I go back to that Toronto game. That game got their attention, I think, for obvious reasons. right? I think Toronto, Saturday night, hockey night in Canada, back home for a lot of the all the Canadian kids still relish that opportunity to play in that moment. You're coming off games that you didn't perform. You needed this performance. They did it. And then you don't take advantage of that with this one. Again, I actually can understand. You tell me. I can understand if they don't play with the same overall passion as they did against Toronto, but you still find a way to grind out a victory in this game. That to me is what has to happen.
No question. That's what this group's done that's what Brad Marchand's done for 12 years. That's what the other guys have done for 5, 6, 7 years. That's the game tonight that they do find a way. Again, and it's just an odd, like, I don't think that the record is, again, they weren't going to win 10 in a row to start the season, and they were going to lose the game against Dallas, right? Like, that Dallas game was a tough game, off the road trip, a good team. They'd lost. They come back, they win Toronto. They win this game, even if they have two bad, like, we've seen them have these two bad periods, and they find a way to win that game in the third period. And that's
Right.
what is the difference right now. That the Utah game, this game, so really it should be a 3-game, like a 6-game swing from what they've been and what this is right now. And that's the concerning part. And that's what the players are worried about right now, or thinking about as they go to sleep, and knowing that they have to turn it around, and they're going to end up chasing the season a little bit. Now that's the one thing I want to push back. There's teams that have chased seasons a little bit and they become better for it later on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that can be, it could, maybe that's the different way for this group. That's
Florida 2 years ago, right?
And yeah, and I don't even want to go to like the Florida of the, like, that's like pie in the sky. I don't want to sound
St.
that
Louis.
homerist.
Right.
I don't. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to sound like, I don't want to go to those ones and make it sound like, yeah, this is why they're going to win. I'm just saying they're too good for this. They have too many good players. They really do, and they've got to figure it out.
1-3-1 in their last 5 games. I don't disagree with your statement about the Dallas game, except I want to push back on that a little bit, because you're coming off a game that was a tough game to win in Nashville, having the day off and the this and the that, and at the end of the road trip, and Nashville had lost 5. Razor, you got to win one of those 2 games. Get a point, in one of those 2 games. That's the only I'm going to push back on that a little bit with you, because I get what you're saying about Dallas, but Dallas is kind of playing like, crap coming into. So one of those 2 you got to figure it out. And to your point about, they would have done that in the past. They would have figured out how to win one of those 2. This team isn't right now. 1-3-1 in their last 5. They're 4-5-1 in their first 10 games. It's funny. 4-5-1 is not good. We know that. But it's more of this feel. It's more of the vibe that something is a bit off here. Yeah. Something doesn't feel like watching the game again from down low. I'm sure you felt the same way watching it from the 5th floor. Great to have you back up there, by the way.
It's been a while.
It disconnected. Like their breakout. How many times? Let me ask you this. This is a pet peeve now of mine. How many times did they ice the puck on a power play this season?
Oh, they did. They did at least twice tonight.
Okay.
So I don't know how many times in the year, but
I know
let's average it out. Let's average it out.
2 times a game, we're
yeah,
20 times now.
No. And that's bananas, folks, by the way. If you did that twice in a month, most, like, you're losing it as a coach. So
right.
They had no rush chances tonight.
None.
No rush chances. That's a problem. And then even going to, like they haven't had many rush chances. That's how the NHL works now, is rush chances and moving and quickly getting up and making plays. David Pastrnak had 20 breakaways last year. That's not happening right now.
He had those two in the Nashville game and he didn't score in either one.
Yeah, that's right. And so those are like, there's a lot of there's probably, we're starting to get up there with the concerning things, and that's why they need to win.
And they need to win kind of regularly now. And I don't know what this magic potion is going to, what is it going to be to take to get them out of this? There's too many players, partner, that are not performing to the level where they need to. Listen, we thought that there were going to be certain players, a litany of players, that whether they achieved their career highs or new career highs or not, but we talked about them having to achieve certain things.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to go through a couple of, we have to. I mean, none of them have gotten going. It's very curious. Maybe curious isn't the right word, but
I think that's a good word.
Okay. Curious.
It is a good word.
Thank you. I usually don't have it's very curious what it is. And it's a quandary. Now I want to get into, when I say something has to be done, I'm talking, I mean, I don't, is it a players only meeting? Is it a signing of a play? I don't know what it is. Is it you calling somebody up? I mean, what?
Yeah, I hope it's not the players only meetings are never, that's dangerous. Those never work.
Tell me why that's dangerous. Let's get, why is
those ones just never work. Like that's like the
precursor to bigger stuff.
That's just the precursor. It's just the regurgitation of what everyone else is saying and doing. And we need to do this. We need to do that. But it doesn't typically solve very much, if not anything. What will shake it up is performance based. Like again, you've got guys that haven't scored yet this season. Mm-hmm. That's problematic. The guys that you needed to score, you've got guys that have not performed, like they've had 2 good games and nothing else beyond those games. That's a big issue. And so I guess what I'm saying is it's up to, there needs to be a night for somebody, the big guys. They need to have, someone needs a 4-point night. Someone needs a 5-point night. Someone needs to like bring this thing into the fight. And Jeremy Swayman, listen, he can steal a game, one of these 2 games, but it's more what's going on up front, because Sway has been really good. The goalies have been fine, more than fine now.
Yeah, I'd agree.
At this stretch, and something. Again, I don't think it needs to be like this big drastic change that you call 5 guys up and put someone on waivers. That I think it just,
well, you don't have that either to do,
correct. It's just not, the league doesn't work that way, right?
Is it too early for, that type of thing? I mean, and the league doesn't work. When is it not too early anymore? That's the other question though. I mean, you talk about chasing the season.
Yeah.
I mean, we've actually already addressed this once, which is amazing considering that we're not even to November 1st, bud. Yeah. But I've said it. You cannot wait for Thanksgiving. You can't if this continues to do things. I don't know. I must be. I don't understand. The Tyler Johnson thing, and I'm saying that like he's been around. I don't know if it's the, if again, that's not the elixir for everything, but
you feel like he's the exact thing that
they could
could spark everything. Whether Maybe. It's a power play opportunity, whether it's a middle 6 right winger, whether it's a middle 6 left winger, whether it's a middle 6 center, like he just kind of checks all the boxes that maybe maybe allows the puck to move around a little bit better on the ice. That one, like, and I'd be curious, he's sitting around and waiting and watching this, like how, like, that kind of gets miserable when you're on a losing, around that, what's going on and what's happening. So the plan's getting put to the test, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Like, whatever that plan is for him.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the word you brought up, curious again, or used it. I mean, it's, this has gone on now where I would have, I guess, I would have thought by now if they're going to sign him, he's got to be signed. Unless I'm missing something contractually, they can afford it now. With Tufte having gone down, they can afford it. Unless there's something else that I'm missing, I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, no, because again, is there nowhere else for him to go? Like, yeah, there's stuff there. It's curious.
Let's recognize our sponsors here. It's we're positive about our sponsors, despite this being not the most positive of Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor shows that we've done. I am positive, as we've talked about kind of construction of this team, I am positive that Graciano Construction is one of the finest places you can go to refresh and revitalize whatever space that you have, Razor, serving Boston and greater Metro West and just other more or less, get a place in Massachusetts and you want to get some ideas, reach out to Graciano Construction. They are the contractor that can and will do it all. Bathrooms, kitchens, porch projects, full renovations, painting, even garages. There's nothing that they can't do. They do it with pride and professionalism. Reach out to Doug Graciano. He and his crew are outstanding. GracianoConstruction.com or call 508-330-7589 to discuss what you're looking to do. Graciano Construction has been just fantastic people to work with. We thank them. Where do you want to go? You want to do Sparks here? You want to do Sparks?
Love Sparks. Can't talk about Sparks enough. What they do for the hockey community, the best machine, the best piece of hockey equipment that I've ever bought. Way better than my kids' sticks, way better than my kids' pads, etc. is the Sparks machine. I've had mine for 3.5 years now. Still cranking. I order a new wheel. I put my new wheel in and it just works. It's as good as you can possibly get. Make sure to visit sparkshockey.com. We got the Brew 50 for $50 off. It saves time. It saves money. There's 100,000 of them out in use around the world, around North America. The Bruins have a few. Everyone's bringing them on the road. In Rochester, of course.
There you go.
You got the Sparks in the room. Anyone wants their skate sharpened, come on up to 533. Get them done. Lots of the girls took advantage of that. It's an absolute no-brainer for anyone who has more than one pair of hockey skates in their house. Sparkshockey.com. Use the code BREW50 for $50 off.
All right. Outstanding. And lastly, for this show, Baydog. Baydog is a canine adventure gear company at baydog.com, Baydog, baydog.com. They make the best life jackets on planet Earth, and that's what they are really known for. But they've also got great harnesses, leashes, different collars, all high quality, but very reasonably priced. Rarely does their stuff go on sale, except for Morning Brew. They're offering 15% off your entire order using the code MBRU, MBREW, to get 15% off your entire order. They've got the great college collection. Again, Cooper's walking around with the Michigan harness that he loves. We love on him as well. They're not on Amazon or Chewy.com. They take care of their local retailers. Go check out baydog.com. If you've got a dog like both Razor and I do, we are enormous fans of all canines, and we love great products. High quality, incredibly reasonably priced products. Go check out baydog.com, a 100% veteran-owned business. You will love their stuff. Thank you to Baydog and to all of our sponsors. All right, let's go through the roster-ish a bit and everything. Razor, we've got to talk about some guys. I mean, you mentioned a few minutes ago, certain guys not performing. Let's just going through Morgan Geekie. The other day, Jim Montgomery said, "What does he got?" When he was asked, "What does he got to do to, he's got to play better."
Yeah.
We talked about him. He had career highs last year. He's had nothing going on right now. Trent Frederick has
zeros.
Zero.
Like those guys are zeros.
Right. He had 1 goal opening night, and that's it. And since then, 0. He's had, and he's got a great attitude. He's positive, but we haven't even seen him get into a scrap. Forget an actual fight, just into a real scrap, unless I'm forgetting one. If I am, forgive me. I'm sorry. Recency bias, perhaps. Brazeau getting an opportunity for a little more. He scored a couple of goals. Okay. Still want to see more regular. Charlie Coyle significantly more from him. He's too valuable of a player. Again, we're going back to guys that had all these career years, and they're not producing right now. We're seeing it from other. It's literally everybody. You could go. Charlie McAvoy, after the first 2 games of the season where he produced points, has not been the same in my eyes. What about you? This is too important of a player, not just monetarily, but the amount of ice time as well.
Well, that's it. That all of the guys we just mentioned are eating. Of course, the upside is Charlie McAvoy at 26 minutes tonight, but you've got Geekie, you've got Frederick, you've got Zaka. They're all having 18, 15, 16 minutes of ice, and if they haven't scored in 8 games, then that probably means your team's not scoring in 8 games, and it's you need to get.
They got to start scoring.
You need to get desperate, and that was Montgomery's message after the game against the Flyers, is the being desperate to score and not just taking shots or not making, get to the front of the net, have it go off your head, have it go off your back, whatever that takes. And again, when you talk about McAvoy, you talk about Coyle, you talk about Lindholm, Hampus, you talk about Zaka, these are the big guys. This is the next, those are the ones that have to chip in. I think even, and I would put Frederick and Geekie in that. Though they're both on contract years, this is stressful. It's really, really stressful, folks. So it can easily turn around. I don't know what the spark is that will make it turn around. That's what if I did, I'd be Scotty Bowman, I guess.
Yeah. I guess it's part of the business, meaning you're constantly figuring out what to do next, right?
Correct. Every night you go to bed, you're like, I'll, and that's why we're seeing the lines being changed so much, and our lines being changed too much. I don't. That's up to the players. I think the players are dictating that a little bit, but yeah, it's
really the only mechanism controlling ice time and changing lines that coaches really have. Of course, there's other. Can you change the system? Well, you can't completely change the system without practice. That's one thing. And you still have what you think is your team's DNA. I do think that they're at times just putting pucks into zones, into the offensive zone where they can't recover it, Razor. And therefore it makes them appear they're playing slower. They didn't play slow against Toronto. They were in sync. They were on top of pucks. Second guys were attacking. They were there regularly. But tonight, how many times did they try and kind of chip it in against Philadelphia? And it would get in, and then Philly would get it. The Bruins wouldn't be able to. There were a couple of times when the puck was bouncing around. Boy, was the ice chopped up tonight. But yet it goes both ways. It does. It does. But it probably helped Philly out even more. But the Bruins, I think, did try at times to overhandle it, to whether it's skate the puck to the net or push the puck towards into an area. Anyway, I don't know. I think that they're watching, they're hoping, they're not, except for that Toronto game recently, they're not playing with the cohesiveness, the passion, determination So that's got to be fixed. It has to be fixed.
It does, and so we'll find out. We are getting nitty gritty now, right? Like now we're getting. I certainly can't be my usual optimistic, like 4 games in, no big deal. Utah, like that was 4 games ago. Now that's 6 points later that you've dropped that aren't there for you. It starts to get dicey. This trip isn't easy. Carolina's going to be, they're 6-2. They're going to be hard to play against Thursday night. You get Philly and Seattle back to back over the weekend, and you look at this and you're like, man, they probably should get 5 points out of this to really reset the table. Again, it's going to take more than this, and I've said this a couple times, and I'm going to continue this. I'm going to say this for a little bit longer, folks. So don't just accuse me of being too optimistic. Is that this group, the Brad Marchands, the David Pasternaks, the Charlie McAvoys, they deserve the benefit of the doubt in that they take this to heart. They're not mailing this in. This group is not like Brad. These guys are not going to bed tonight saying, "Yeah, we'll get it." Like this hurts them.
Oh no,
they've proven this.
Yeah,
and they will do everything they can to continue to work through this. So in that way, that's where I still have optimism. I don't know, this isn't the Philadelphia Flyers, or this isn't probably 10 or 12 other teams in the National Hockey League where that they just don't know what to do now. I really do believe this group does know what to do. I really do believe Brad Marchand knows what to do and how to keep the process and how to keep their heads down. And I'm going to continue to believe in that until we get to a point where we just can't anymore.
Well, they're sure shit entering a tough stretch, bud.
They've created adversity for themselves early, which is certainly different than I can't remember. I don't know when I started exactly covering the team, but I can't remember them dealing with this. So this will be different.
Well, definitely not early in a season have they had this in
Correct.
the last couple of years. That we know.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the upcoming schedule. And Thursday
month,
night,
huh? We've got a long month ahead of us.
Oh my God.
Like, holy, what a beating.
This whole Four Nations thing, it's like it's another Olympic year.
Is that what happened? I didn't really pay attention. And I'm like,
oh shit, it sucks.
It's going to be Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Well, right, and all you're doing is games. So you got a game Thursday in Carolina. By the way, we will record our next show, folks, on Friday morning. Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor will be recorded when Razor is traveling with the team, so we can't do it after the Carolina game. We will do it the morning after, Friday morning, when he's in Philadelphia. They then play, as you said, in the afternoon on Saturday against Philly. Then Sunday back home against the Kraken, who just thumped, was it Montreal 8-1? The same, tonight on the Tuesday night. Then they go to Toronto on Tuesday, only to come back to play Calgary on Thursday. And then they've got a game Saturday at home against the Ottawa Senators. Like, holy smokes. Like, again, though, this is not just one team. A lot of other teams are going through this as well. It's just, this is what's going on. So there's really not a lot of room to breathe. And on the one hand, if you're in a funk, you got to keep playing. On the other hand, I don't know if these guys need a good night out and a good bender, although I would have thought they would have had that on their.
I feel like they might have already done those.
Yeah, I would agree. So then maybe they need, one of those practices where.
Yeah, maybe Carolina is just a go to bed room service night.
Yeah, well, it should be. I think it should be, but they don't have a lot of time to practice either. So they'll practice on Wednesday. They'll play Thursday. They'll probably have Friday off. They'll play Saturday. They play Sunday. I'm not going to practice Monday. They got a game Tuesday. Maybe they'll practice Wednesday, but probably not because they're coming back from Canada. So then they'll play Thursday. My point is, you don't have a lot of time to change things.
No, that's right.
So I don't know. I think that there's got to be. I think they've got to try again. Whether it's a call up of a player or a signing of Tyler Johnson, Razor, that seems to me like the most obvious thing right away. Is that fair? I mean, something different like that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I keep saying, oh, well, you're going to know it a ton in the next. I just rattled off that schedule. You're going to know a ton by a week from Saturday against the Ottawa Senators. I mean, again, how many? So you're talking 3 games, 4, 5, 6 games in that time.
Yeah, so you're at 16 on the season.
Right.
That's it.
So now you're going to know a lot. All right, not a very positive morning brew with Jaffe and Razor.
Yeah, that stinks.
What time's the plane on Friday? Wednesday. I got my days.
2:00. But I have to go to Warrior too in the morning. So, and I got my kids. So I gotta hang out with them all morning because they're mad that I'm not here for Halloween. So,
are the kids off tomorrow? Do they have?
No, I just got to get up early. Which is a problem at this time of night.
Well, I'm happy that you'll get a little time with the kiddos, and then you're leaving. It's a quick trip. It's not far to Raleigh.
Yep, easy one.
An hour, easy one, and then Raleigh to Philly won't be bad either. All right. So a reminder: hats will be in by the end of the week. We will give you social media updates when they are ready to go and provide you the link at fazendacoffee.com/morningbrew. Razor and I will record our next show Friday morning, not Thursday night after Carolina, Friday morning after Carolina. And then after that, our other show, next show after that will be after Sunday night's game against Seattle. That one's at home. The Bruins lose 2-0 to the Philadelphia Flyers. They're now 1-3-1 in their last 5 games. Something's got to get going for this team. It's time. I think if you've listened this entire time, you know that we know it's time. I'd say go out and enjoy your coffee, but I think it's time to maybe go out and enjoy something a little stiffer than that right now. And then we'll regroup after Thursday's game. Everybody have a good couple of days. We'll talk to you Friday morning.